I'm literally shaking out of excitement to talk about this video. Hold on, wait, I'm not dressed appropriately for this video. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. I'm wearing my Quadeca shirt. Can you guess who we're talking about? Sorry, I'll try to be composed and normal for the remainder of this video. Let me reintroduce myself. Hold on. Hi. If you know me at all, online or in person, you will know that I am a Quadeca fan. Like a big Quadeca fan. Now, I'm not gonna go around calling myself like an OG fan or anything because I think I'd get sniped for real if I said that. But I am quite the active listener of his music. I've been listening since like early 2021 and he's been my top artist for the past like 3 years, so I feel rather qualified to talk on this topic, and I hope that I can do him justice with this video, going into his history as an artist and just taking like a deeper dive into almost a decade of his music career. So before we get into all that though, even though I'm so excited to talk about it, let's get to know each other first. Hi! Welcome to my channel where I talk about music and music related things that I find interesting. I like to talk about artists, albums, events, and observations that I see happening in the music world. So if that is something that you seem to be into, you are welcome to like, subscribe, and stick around for a little while. I post videos every Wednesday at noon, so hit the bell to be notified whenever I post, and let me know in the comments what brought you to this video. I would just love to know. If you didn't know, Quadeca actually started off as a YouTuber making FIFA content in like 2012-ish under the username QuadecaX8, which is still his YouTube username. And eventually he started this whole rap thing around 2015-ish, where he started making these like styles of rap videos, which you may or may not have seen on the internet, and they did really well. They were his first like showcase into his diversity as an artist, really. And even though people saw him as just like a YouTube rapper or even like an impressionist, it was somewhat of his like step into the pool that was YouTube rap at the time. It was also around this time where he did release some of his own music. Very good hits like Schoenberg and Fish Out of Bacardi that really showcased his talent. But his big break, which you may know him from, was in 2018, the whole KSI Sidemen drama. So let's get into that, I guess. Sorry, can you tell it's like not my favorite topic ever? Whenever I used to tell people like, oh, I love Quadeca, they'd be like, oh, the guy that dissed KSI? No! He's so much more than that. But yes, he is the guy that dissed KSI. Anyways, to make like a summary of that, what happened was in November of 2018, KSI was on a podcast and he called out some YouTube rappers, one of them happening to be Quadeca, and then Quadeca saw the video, and a couple days later, literally like within the same week, he came out with this diss track called Insecure, which is the infamous KSI diss track. The video is currently sitting at 39 million views. And eventually after some like back and forth, KSI reacting to this, and then Quadeca reacting to KSI reacting to the diss, and some other like random YouTube collabs and stuff that happened, some meetups, some features on songs, similar such things, it was very clear who won the beef. My incredible GOAT Quadeca can never outdiss him. Moving on from that era though, he did release a couple albums around that time. Work in Progress, Nostalgia for the Now, Bad Internet Rapper, and Out of Order. I don't think that those albums were in order. I can't remember if I wrote them in order or not. And they're not like particularly significant to the lore, as he did like archive them on streaming. He put them under a different profile, Quadeca Archives, or as I like to call it, the Quarkives. Sorry, that's so stupid. I've never said it out loud before. Because he doesn't really like associate with that kind of music anymore. He made like a whole tweet about it and I was really sad about it because one of my favorite songs is on Nostalgia for Now. It's called Share. And it was literally one of the only songs that the sample didn't get cleared the second time through. So now it's not on streaming anymore. I'm not mad about it. I'm fine. It was in the late 2010s where he did become a pretty big name within like the YouTube rap scene, especially with the release of his album Voice Memos, which was his last real like rap album. It's a really good album, like I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna go and say that his previous work was bad. It's just like amateur. I mean, like he was a teenager, but like it wasn't bad per se. It's just that Voice Memos is better. Like, you could really hear the difference between anything posted on the archives versus voice memos. The lyricism is better, the production is better, and he only ever continues to get better from 2019 on out. But the real significance of this album is that in voice memos, it feels as though he developed more of his own unifying style of music, if that makes sense. Because after creating styles of rap videos for so long and just impersonating other artists to an extent, this is what really felt like his album and his kind of music, if you guys know what I'm trying to say. Some standouts on the album obviously being the holy trinity of Man on My Left Shoulder, Eyes, and These Days. And there's also songs like on it. But moving away from his YouTube rapper phase, we are brought into 2020 and 2021 with the rollout and release of From Me to You. What an era, man. This is when I started listening to Quadeca with the release of hit songs like Beamin'. That was a song that happened. Someone was a Dream SMP fan. Not me though. I would never. The first singles being Where'd You Go and then Alone Together kind of felt like whiplash. They're each so different in their tone, but they still have a very Quadeca feel to them. And I think that was the main thing that this album developed, was Quadeca as an artist. This is like a very on and off album for me, I'll say. I have a lot of nostalgia to this album, which makes me not totally hate it. And like at the time, it was good, I guess, because it was like a really hard time to be a Quadeca fan, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the solo songs on the album are really good, I'll say that. The collab songs, not so much, but this is where he's kind of transitioning out of that YouTube rap phase, and you can really hear it in the songs. I don't know, man, it was a rough time. Okay, recently it was the 4-year anniversary of this album, From Me to You. He did not acknowledge it once. I don't know what his thoughts on the album are currently. I'm just saying she's not the favorite child, and that's okay, you know. Standouts on the album obviously being Sisyphus and Shades of Us, which are both really good songs. It's crazy to think that he made all this music while he was like 18, 19. What's really good about this album, I'll say, is the production is very well done, and it's like all or mostly done by him. It showcased his production work as an artist and shows that he is very talented in both his lyricism, his production, his singing skills, I guess. It was pretty good. There's a lot of songs on it. There's a lot of interludes on it. There's a lot of features on it. There is a song for everybody on that album, and I think that's quite beautiful. I've gone from saying that this album is a 7 out of 10 to saying it's a 3 out of 10 to going back to calling it a 7 out of 10. It's been very on and off for me, but I will say it's not a bad album at all by any means. It's really good. It follows a good story. Quadeca knows how to tell a good story, I'll tell you that. And in general, it's a big step up from everything that he used to make before. If you look at any of his music pre-2020 versus post-2020, it's hardly even like the same person. Even today, literally today, I had to fight in TikTok comments telling people to listen to Quadeca's new music because they were like, oh, but that's the YouTube rap guy. No, it's not. And this is shown even further when we come into 2022 with the release of I Didn't Mean to Haunt You. I could start going off script for this one now because now I know what the hell I'm talking about. I Didn't Mean to Haunt You era, that was my prime Quadeca fan era. Not really. I feel like I'm in my prime right now. That was the beginning of my prime. The second he announced Born Yesterday, I was the driver of that bus. I was spearheading the Quadeca campaign, making every single person I'd ever spoken to in my life to listen to that man. And some things haven't changed. I still do that every day. I literally did that today. But what I'm saying, the second that Born Yesterday dropped, the second that music video dropped, changed lives. I was never the same again. If you listen From Me to You versus I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, if you listen to any song on From Me to You versus Born Yesterday, you don't even know it's the same person. It's crazy. I'm yelling. I need to calm down. Sorry guys, I got really excited again. I Didn't Mean to Haunt You changed my life. Okay, getting into that album itself, aside from the singles, Born Yesterday, Tell Me a Joke, so good. Each song so good. The album itself is a concept album. talking about kind of the afterlife of a person through the perspective of their ghost as they navigate through post-death, I guess. If you want, I could do a whole video about I Didn't Mean to Haunt You itself, but I feel like there's enough of those, so I don't want to add on to the pile. I don't know if I have anything too introspective left to say, as the album has been out for like 3 years now. What I will say that I have already said in this video is that Quadeca is such a good storyteller. As he grows as an artist, as he evolves as an artist, so do the stories that he tells. And the story of I Didn't Mean to Haunt You is so captivating. It follows this person as they, you know, die. They just kind of struggle with coming to terms with death, coming to terms with what they've done now that they're dead, because they themselves. We get this crazy peak of the album with this song with Danny Brown, House Settling, where Danny Brown raps from the perspective of carbon monoxide. I'll never get over that, like literally what? Going into possibly the greatest 3-song run of all time, Knott's Fantasy World, and then Fractions. When I tell you this has literally been my top streamed album for 3 years straight. Fractions of Infinity has the Sunday Service Choir in it. It literally sounds magical. And then the lyricism of Cassini's Sufficient. You guys need to experience this album on your own. I can't describe it in words if you haven't listened to it yet. Like genuinely just sit down, earbuds in, volume all the way up in a dark room. It will change your life. And then that was also where people started kind of looking at Quadeca and being like, maybe he's not just a YouTube rapper. Fantano gave it a strong 7, so that's how you know it's good. Now personally, I would have given it like an 8+. And Fantano is not like the standard for reviewing things. I don't really like a lot of his reviews, but a strong 7 is pretty good, I won't lie. Especially coming off of From Me to You. Coming into 2024, end of 2023, start of 2024, he came out with this mixtape, not an album, mixtape, Scrapyard. What is Scrapyard, you might ask? Well, of course, it is all the scraps from I Didn't Mean to Haunt You and potentially, some scraps from Vanisher. Don't know how true that is, don't quote me on that, but it's so good. And of course, a standout on this mixtape was Texas Blue featuring Kevin Abstract, and also A La Carte featuring Breakins. A lot of my fave artists on this. And just in general, he released it in little snippets. He had Scrapyard 1, Scrapyard 2, Scrapyard 3, and then Scrapyard 4 got canceled for reasons that I can't remember right now, so he just released all of Scrapyard at once instead. I think some of my favorite songs on it are I Make It Look Effortless. I think that's a really cute song. Really fun little 1.5 minute song. Pretty Privilege was my top stream song of last year. Devastatingly good, if anything, if you listen to the lyrics. Guide Dog broke my heart. So did Easier. Oh my god. Easier is probably top 5 Quadeca songs. This mixtape was so good. Fantano gave it a 9, which I think is pushing it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Don't get on my tail like that. It was good, but a Fantano 9? That album was so good. I put everyone and their moms onto that album. From literally the day that it came out in like mid-February or whatever until summer of last year, I could not stop raving about it. It was the only album I talked about. Like I'm very glad that a lot of people started finding his music. I haven't even talked about the genres of music that he's changed from. So From Me to You was still kind of like, I would still consider it to be like YouTube rap, a little bit hyperpop. The Deluxe has a song with Sebi on it, so now I just consider the whole album to be hyperpop. I don't really know what else I would call it as, but I Didn't Mean to Haunt You. They call it folktronica. What is folktronica? I have no clue. Some people called it indie-tronica. We are literally just making up words now. I don't even know what I would describe it as. So yeah, I guess it is folktronica. It's like indie folk, electronic. Oh, that's why you call it folktronica, because it's folk and electro. I just made the connection. Sorry, guys. Okay, now I'm embarrassed. That's really... So I Didn't Mean to Haunt You was folktronica, right? And then Scrapyard, I guess by default, is also folktronica, but it's more acoustic, if anything. Most of the songs are a lot slower, a lot more just guitar in general, which I think is very different from what he normally does. He is really talented with his guitar, and I don't see anyone talking about that ever. He has sort of like the McGee-esque sort of like playing style with his guitar, which is very unique and very interesting, and I don't know where they both learned learned it from. From when Scrapyard released, he immediately started teasing Vanisher. Mind you, this is February of 2024. When did the first official teasers for Vanisher come out though? February of 2025. Early March, if anything. Edged us for a whole year for what? Well, I can't even say for what, because Godstained is literally like the greatest song ever right now. Okay, so my good friend Cold LOL has already made a couple videos about Vanisher. Love that guy to pieces. So if you want to watch his video about Vanisher theories and just Vanisher in general, I'll link his channel and his video in the description because I don't want to steal any of his theories. Getting into Vanisher, keeping this as concise as I can. One thing, he used to be with the label Dead Air, which is the same label that Jane Remover is under. He's made music with Jane Remover, or he's worked with Jane Remover. Nothing is released, but I feel like they've both taken a lot of inspiration from each other in their work. Keep that in your head for right now. He is no longer under Dead Air. He's now working under, I think, his own label, X8, which is where the Quadeca X8 comes back in. See, I told you guys to keep it in your head. Now working under his own label, he comes out with his little phone number. Well, little quirky little phone number. You call the phone number and it's just static, like what you would hear on like a sonar. And the thing about Vanisher is it's very nautical themed, it's very ocean themed, very summery, one may say. I'm thinking it's gonna be like a spring summer album. I don't know for a fact yet. We'll know when it comes out. We'll come back, we'll revisit this topic. He keeps on leaking these little snippets on the phone, and finally people piece together the numbers and the dates. We get our first single for Vanisher. The single is going to be called Godstained, and the single is going to be 3 minutes 25 seconds because that's how long the phone call was. And if it's 3:25, that means it's going to release on 3:25. But so Godstained comes out, and it's the greatest song ever. Audience reception on Godstained from a Quadeca fan end, it's really good. It's sort of that acoustic sound that you hear in songs like Easier from Scrapyard, but there's these little like percussion parts in it which are very bouncy. I don't really know how to describe it. Don't ever ask me to describe music to you. And there's the flute part, which is so good, and then there's the little quick little rap part at the very end, and it's all just so full circle. The audience reception from a non-Quadeca fan end, from what I've seen on TikTok as either like a non-Quadeca fan or like an old fan that hasn't listened to his music in a long time, the hoes are loving it. They love him over there, and I can't blame them. It's so good. I've gotten people who never listened to Quadeca before to listen to this song and then go and listen to his old music because it's just that good. And I've been seeing more and more people talk about him on like TikTok and stuff, and then those videos get thousands of views, and I'm like, oh my god. It makes me feel like a proud mom a little bit. Like it's so awesome. It's so cool. So where do we go from here? Well, if this is the first single on Vanisher, I'm a little scared to see what's next. Not in the sense that like I'm worried, but like since before and after Godstained has dropped, it's been a week, he's already gone up 100,000 listeners, and Godstained, hopefully by this point Godstained will have hit 1 million streams within the first week. Crazy work considering he only has like 300,000 listeners, which the fact that he only has 300,000 listeners is crazy to me. The peak of Scrapyard he had like 600,000, so I'm thinking peak of Vanisher he's gonna have like close to 1 million. You guys can like snipe me if I'm wrong, but I think it's gonna happen. I have high hopes for this album. I have very high hopes because like he said, it's some of his best work yet, which he said about all of his work in the past. He's been like, oh, this is my best work yet. But it's the truth. He just keeps getting better. Like genuinely, 2025 is the year of Quadeca. You can quote me on this. 2025 is the year of Quadeca. I don't have too much else left to say. I mean, if you want to see me talk more about Quadeca, follow my Twitter because that's all I've been talking about for the past week. I really just wanted to gush about Quadeca. I just need to get it out of my system. Like literally, I've been shaking this whole video because I get so excited to talk about it. Thank God for YouTube where I have a place to talk about it. And also you guys have been asking me for a Quadeca video because I can't stop talking about him. Sorry, I'm like literally going insane. That's everything I really have to say about Quadeca right now. Maybe I'll make a follow follow-up video about Vanisher when it comes out, going into more theories, talking about into maybe what it is about really, because it's supposed to be another concept album. So I'm really excited for that. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. Maybe a little less excited. We don't all need to be crazy like me. That was so awesome. Thank you guys for giving me an opportunity to talk about Quadeca. Thank you guys for watching this whole video if you watch it all the way through. I don't know how long this video is gonna be because the recording is like 45 minutes. I want to make it like digestible, so hopefully I didn't ramble on too much. We'll see how much actually gets kept into the video. For the 5 million time, thank you guys so much. I already said thank you for 1,000, but I want to say thank you again. Like, I love talking about music and artists so much. It's so awesome. That's all I have to say for real this time now. I will see you guys next week with another video. Bye!